what's good, Commanders fans? Just want to give a couple shout outs to the clips from before. A couple of clips were from Mason Kinahan. Shout out to him. I should be on his podcast on Sunday. And then also another clip was from Calvin Kaplan. So I want to give everybody their credit who does put out training camp videos and highlights and stuff like that while they're at training camp. I want to give those guys their credit. And then also Burgundy Zone, I think. They have a YouTube channel and they have a podcast as well. They put up the clip of Sam Howell making a nice pass to Terry McLaurin. So those are the clips that I showed in the beginning. Of course, we got to get to the elephant in the room, the Ron Rivera comments about Eric Bieniemy. Like, Ron just can never be quiet, dog. Like, he always has to talk and say way too much. Like, I thought Ron should have been fired after he didn't know that we weren't going to make the playoffs after being eliminated by the Browns. When they asked him, like, did you know that you're going to be eliminated, that you could be eliminated if you lost to the Browns? And he said, no, he didn't know that. And once I heard that, I was like, you gotta go. And he started Carson Wentz that game. I was like, you got to go, man. You got to go. So Nika Javala asked Ron about Eric Bieniemy. She said, have players had to adapt to Eric Bieniemy's intensity and have any struggle with it at times? And he said, yeah, they have. And one of the biggest things is I had a number of guys, not just one, but a number of guys come to me. And I said, hey, just go talk to him. I said, I understand what he's trying to get across to you. I think as they go and they talk and they listen to him, it's been enlightening for a lot of these guys. So not just one, but a lot of guys. And they're going to have to get used to it. I mean, he's coming from a Super Bowl winning team. He's an old school kind of guy. He's been coaching for years. He was tough on Adrian Peterson. He was tough on Kareem Hunt. He was tough on Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce. Remember, I like LaShawn McCoy, but when he said, he was dog cussing the players out, even Travis Kelce, even the star players, he doesn't care who you are. He will talk to you the same way. Terry McLaurin, whoever, Curtis Samuel, Jahan, he's going to talk to everybody the same way, from Logan Thomas all the way down to Marnie or whoever, Brandon Dillon, the tight end that we brought in, undrafted free agent. And then the last question she asked him too, when they came to you, is it just they felt like Eric was riding them too hard? And he says, well, they were just a little concerned. So they're obviously concerned. They came to Ron Rivera, and they came, and it makes the players look bad too, because they're coming behind Eric Bieniemy's back. That's the way it makes it look like. They don't want to come up to Eric Bieniemy. They want to come up behind his back and talk to Ron about the situation and say that he's riding them too hard. Now, Eric is a tough coach. They knew what they were getting. The players knew what was coming. He's just a guy. That's just how he is. He's a yeller. But a good thing that Nika Javala also said, that he's been the biggest positive coach in saying, great job, guys. Great shiggity, guys. Great stuff. He not only he'll yell at them when they're out of line, but he will cheer for them and hype them up when they make a good play, when they make a good a touchdown or a nice catch, nice block. He's the loudest coach out there, hyping the players up as well. So you're getting both sides from Eric Bieniemy. But I just hate this from Ron Rivera. What happens in the locker room needs to stay in the locker room. What happens in the coaching office needs to stay in the office. We might as well have gotten Hard Knocks. If you're going to say all this information out, they might as well have gotten Hard Knocks. I don't really care about Hard Knocks. But Ron Rivera always has to run his mouth and just say too much to the media, because this is the thing they're going to run with the narrative now, that if we start off slow, which we always do under Ron Rivera, is that the players are turning on Eric Bieniemy. The office is not working. The office is not gelling well because players are not responding well to Eric Bieniemy, because they don't want to listen to him because he's yelling too much. He's cussing them out and all that. That's the narrative I can certainly see. And he's adding fuel to the fire to that narrative. And that's just what I'm not a fan of. And I wish Eric Bieniemy the best. He's coming into a tough situation with a young quarterback, a makeshift offensive line. And he's going to try to make this work, coming from Pat Mahomes to here. And he did not get a head coaching job, which I thought he was worthy and deserving of a head coaching job. He's coming here first to prove that he can be a head coach. And now you're putting this narrative out here, because if it doesn't work, other teams and other owners and GMs are going to be like, oh, okay, it didn't work because players not responding to him because he's too abrasive. He's cussing them out all the time. So I just hate this for Eric Bieniemy. I really do. And this is just unnecessary stuff from Ron Rivera. It really is. And you can see why Jack Del Rio, he doesn't talk much to the media. He's so different from Ron Rivera. Like, Ron Rivera would be very open and telling, but Jack Del Rio, he doesn't talk much at all. And you see why. You can tell there's times where Jack Del Rio thinks that Ron Rivera just talks too much. And there's a lot of times where you're gonna have to ask the coach about that. So I thought Eric Bieniemy handled every question really, really well today. He talked about himself in third person, which is pretty funny. But he said, yes, I'm intense. I would be afraid too at the start if I didn't know. But I'm always upfront and I'm always honest. I expect us to be the team that we're supposed to be. It's not going to be easy, but everybody's not going to like the process. So, and that's just how it is. When a tough coach comes in from a winning program, and you came from Scott Turner, who was a chill guy. We had Jay Gruden. I mean, other guys were here when there was Jay Gruden, but you had the nipple slip, or not the nipple slip, but the nipple thing with Deshaun Jackson. You're just not getting that kind of guy. And I get the pushback against Eric Bieniemy too, because it's a new generation. There's a lot of young guys. And you do have to talk to certain people a different way. You do have to talk to certain players. I'm not saying coddle players, But this is a different generation. This is not, the Bear Bryant generation or Bobby Knight in college basketball where I'm throwing a chair and stuff like that. Players have to be taught. Like, they even changed practice. There's no more two-a-days, really. There's no more tough two-a-day practices. Things have changed in 2023 or really the 2010s. And even defensively, there's a lot of, you can barely touch the quarterback. So a lot of things have changed over the years. And just the way you taught the players, it's a players-driven league. Players can get coaches fired and stuff like that. So it's a different time, and you do have to understand when to push buttons to players and stuff, when to talk to players, when to get the best out of them. Yelling all the time doesn't always get the best out of players. So I get the argument and whatnot and the concern, but I don't like the narrative that they're painting him as just a yeller, and I feel like he yells with a purpose. We got to see how it works in the games, but I don't like the narrative that they're pushing right now because this I can see this turning bad. I really could. I can see it turning bad. But let's get to the play-by-play here. And then I might talk a little bit about the depth chart. The depth chart was kind of cut and dry, but I mean, Dax Milne is going to make the roster. He's just going to make it roster. He's going to make the roster as the punt returner. And Brian Pringle, I think he's going to make the roster too. I think he is. Eric Bieniemy brought him here for a reason. He's had a good camp so far. He's got some speed to him. He's a tough. He has tough catches over the middle too. When you watch some of his highlights with the Chiefs, so I think he's going to make the roster. Those are the 6 guys going to make the roster, other than the four receivers that are locked. And then Eric Bieniemy also said something like, if it doesn't work out, then my behind gets fired. He said something like that as well. All right, so let's get to the play-by-play. I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. John Con says Chris Paul continues to work at left guard with the ones during 11-on-11. Sadiq Charles worked out with the ones at individual, but it looks like Sadiq Charles was on the sideline again. Sadiq Charles working with the ones at the top of practice and installs. Curtis Samuels and Emmanuel Forbes are both out there in 11 versus 11. So that's good news. Chase Young and Logan Thomas are not. Thomas is not at practice with the calf injury. Young went inside during individual. Now, Chase Young did run to the bathroom. He came back out. Maybe he had to use the back. He went inside and then he came back out. He might have had to use the bathroom or something like that. We'll see what happened with that. But Calvin Kaplan says that Antonio Gibson now has 2 drops in 11-on-11 drills. Both tough catches, but still tough to see. Ben Stanton says Chris Paul back with the ones in 11s. Nicky Zavala says Terry Malone just had a diving catch along the sideline. Perfect ball from Sam Howell. I'm sure a fan will post it. So that's probably the video that Mason caught on camera, or Burgundy Zone got on camera. Sam Howell with a perfect ball to McLaurin down the right side, about 30 yards. Holmes with solid coverage, but a dime. So Sam Howell had a good practice from what I heard. He made some nice passes. So this was probably one of his better practices for sure. Zach Selby says first offensive all off the field, 5 runs, 3 passes, all completions from Sam Howell. So Sam Howell had 3 completions. A nice drive there. Zach Selby says Sam Cosmi did a nice job of creating a hole for Brian Robinson with a pull block on Jamin Davis. Sam Cosmi's had a good camp so far at guard. He's made that transition to guard, so he's just got to stay healthy once again. He's another guy on the offensive line that just has to stay healthy, knock on wood. Zach Selby says starting defense ends red zone period with a sack on Sam Howell. John Allen managed to beat Chris Paul on the inside to crash the pocket. So John Allen is one of the best defensive tackles in the league. It's just going to happen. It's just going to happen. Zach Selby says, really nice catch by Jonathan Williams on a pass from Sam Howell, who rolled out to his right. Davis was the defender on the play. So now on that play, Charles Leno got beat by KJ Henry pretty easily. So that is a little concerning, but it's good to see that KJ Henry is having a couple of good practices here. Jacoby Brissett once again took some reps with the number 1 offense for a second day versus number 2 defensive line, but the number 1 linebackers and defensive backs. That was per Chris Russell. Zach Selby says Howell caps off his series with a touchdown pass to Jahan Dotson. Had to put a little extra air on the ball to get it over the defensive line. So Sam Howell had a good pass to Jahan Dotson. Once again, he had a good day today. Looks like he had a solid day today, getting a good connection with Jahan Dotson, who is a legitimate red zone threat. Jahan Dotson had 7 touchdowns last year. Matt Parrish says offensive lineman Terrell Warden had a back injury, is not at practice. Nija Javala said Montez Sweat is just murdering linemen on one-on-one. So Montez Sweat, once again, dominating in practice. He's just got to finish. He's got to finish and get those sacks, man. He's a player that's capable of getting double-digit sacks. So this is a contract year for him. He's just got to finish plays. Zach Selby said another really nice grab from Cole Turner, who made a toe-tapping reception near the end zone. So Cole Turner definitely has to step up with Logan Thomas not being available right now. And Logan Thomas, honestly, the last 2 years, he's missed a couple games. Cole Turner missed a bunch of games last year, too. But Cole Turner, I feel like he can be a breakout player this season. Matt Parrish says, I don't know how many corners this team is going to keep, but I wouldn't be surprised if Rashad Wild Goose is one of them. It'll be interesting to see if it comes down to him versus Danny Johnson. So Danny Johnson's, Rashad Wild Goose, they both can play in the slot. Wild Goose had an up and down season last year, but he is young. going into his second or third season. Ben Stanley also said Montez Sweat is a monster. Zach Selby also said Montez Sweat is out here doing his thing. Just blew up a running play with Gore as the carrier. So Montez Sweat was all over the place and dominating as well, all over the field today. Trust Way will hold the punt, but he will not punt in Cleveland on Friday night because of lower back tightness. They did have a punter, Colby Wadman, the first number 0 in Commanders history, will punt. Ron Rivera said player extensions and coaching titles are work in progress as new ownership gets up to speed on the organization. Now, there was a number 0 for the Skins in Washington here, but this is the first number 0 in Commanders history. Even Sam 48, he said Sam Howell looking sharp earlier on 11-11, had a nice sidearm throw over the middle while moving to his left, and then a beautiful go ball down the right side line bolt to Terry McLaurin. So he has a good connection with Terry McLaurin. I like Sam Howell on the move a lot. I really do. I like him RPOs on the move, bootlegs, just him moving around, getting out of the pocket. I think he does a really good job of moving around and throwing the football on the run and improvising as well. He did it a lot in the preseason too. Like he had some good passes to Dax Milne last year, some good passes to Alex Erickson as well in preseason last season. Sam 48 says in the red zone, Jacoby Brissett outran linebacker David Mayo to the pylon. Brissett's speed impressed defenders. Chase Young says, okay, Dante Culpepper. Montez Sweat says, check the GPS, Brisket. So the Montez Sweat and Chase Young making some jokes there. But David Mayo, we know he's as slow as a snail, so I'm not impressed by that. But Jacoby Brissett low-key has some wheels on him. He's a guy that can run for a first down. He's really good on the 4th and 1. And shout out to Dante Culpepper for sure for the Vikings. A legendary Vikings player. Zach Selby says, Casmir Allen gets a couple of positive plays. Just scored 2 touchdowns working with the 3. So we have a Casmir Allen sighting. I heard he was pretty low on the depth chart, so I wouldn't take too much into it. But it looks like right now he's on the outside looking at Mitchell Tinsley. Looks like he's the undrafted free agent guy that is very close to make. If they keep 7, I think Mitchell Tinsley would be the undrafted free agent wide receiver. Marcus Kemp is possible, but I hear Mitchell Tinsley's been making a good amount of noise in training camp so far. Calvin Kaplan says the defense, as usual, is generating lots of pressure in 11-on-11. So once again, the defense getting a lot of pressure against our offensive line, and that's what they're supposed to do. 4 first-round draft picks and Fedarian Mathis, second-round pick. So that's what they're supposed to do. You got two Pro Bowlers in the middle. Chase Young, former Pro Bowler, Montez Sweat, 15th pick of the, or the what was it, the 26th pick of the draft, traded back to get him. So I mean, that's what they're supposed to do. So yeah, that's about it, man. Like I said, Ron, I think his days are numbered in DC, to be honest with you. I mean, he just talks too much, man. Talks too much. And you know, some stuff just shouldn't be said. I thought it was unnecessarily said, to be honest with you. I'm just not a fan of it, but I'm rooting for Eric Bieniemy, and I just don't want it to be the narrative if things don't work. If they go 7-10 again, I don't want them being like, oh, it's because Eric is too abrasive and players don't listen to him. You know, he only did well with Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. He can't be good as an offensive coordinator, and then he'll never get a job again, or he'll have to be an OC again, and that's about his ceiling as far as getting jobs. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see. All right, you guys. Hell's Commanders. Peace.